Th Thank you very much. Listen, good afternoon, everybody. I'm very happy and proud to be here. And congratulations, because this has become much more professional than in my time. No? I did the MBA in 99, 2000. And this was really my first contact with creating a company, the IE. And since then, this has evolved a lot, and I think it's a great initiative of IE Business School to foster entrepreneurship. Very briefly, I will talk about me, about my entrepreneurial project, MÁSMÓVIL, and what we achieved in those 10 years, and then about some key learnings that might be helpful for you. Well, I'm Austrian, as Alison said. I did the MBA here in Madrid, 99, 2000, before I studied law. I'm a learned carpenter. And you might laugh a bit about that, but I think this fact helped me a lot also in my period with MÁSMÓVIL, because I was always used, and I like to finish things. You know, if you start a chair, you know when it's finished. So, and this is one of the elements that I think are really important, that execution is everything, and to get things done, it's very important in the entrepreneurial career. But okay, the story, how we get from a startup, €0 revenues, to a company that has revenues over 1 billion now. Well, we started dos guiris, two foreigners, came to Spain in the early 2006, because the Spanish telco regulator said, okay, we need more competition in the sector. We have just 3 players. We need to give a chance for new entrants. And so the regulator passed an obligation to the rest of the telco players to open their networks. So I and my friend Chris, a Norwegian guy, we came to Spain completely naive and genius. We thought, okay, there's regulations, so they have to give us access to the network. We will be in the market in 3-4 months, and we will become rich, or we will get bankrupt very soon, depending on how good we are. What happened is that we passed 2 years trying to get what is called a wholesale contract, meaning a mobile operator opening a network and letting us deliver the service, the mobile services, to our clients. And this contract was key. We needed 2 years. We ate a lot of pasta and pesto. We shared flats. We were bankrupt a few times in between. We asked family and friends to come in. Unfortunately, no fools, as we see right now, but also some, let's say, private individuals that helped us and later have been on our board. But it was a long journey. And there, it was important that we were 2, because one of us would probably have returned home very quickly. We started then, we got a contract with Orange, or Amena still, in Spain in 2008, started the market. So from 2008 onwards, people could call with us. Actually, we launched MÁSMÓVIL in IE, in María de Molina. We had our launch PR conference there. And we started to grow in a time where it wasn't very easy to get money, especially for companies that were not profitable. We launched in 2008. In 2009, we needed the second round of financing, because we have been that smart that in the first round we didn't accept all the money that we could get because of dilution. We wanted to avoid the dilution. In 2009 we ran out of money, so we started cost cutting. This was also a nice experience. But we kept on growing. And in these years of crisis in Spain, we learned a lot to grow without funds, so the efficient growth. And we arrived with a team of around 50 people, with around 200,000 clients. we grew up into 2013, and in 2013 was a turnaround year in Spain because Telefónica started to commercialize not only mobile services but also fixed and internet service all together. It was launched as Fusión. And these packaged sales made us question about our future. Would we as a mobile-only player have a sustainable business model? Would we should we sell? Should we sell? We had some offers back then. But in the end, our shareholders were brave enough to say, okay, we go for it. We create a bigger alternative player in Spain. So what we did, we integrated with a fixed line player that provided services to enterprises in the fixed telecom market, which was listed in the junior market, in the Spanish junior market, so in the stock exchange for small and medium companies. And it was the first time in early 2014 that MÁSMÓVIL had access to funding, to money. So we could accelerate growth, and we bought some companies to complement our service offering from mobile to fixed to internet services, from just consumers or residential clients also to enterprises. And we completed the service offering and started to compete in all the markets, really. But we had one big disadvantage, which was we didn't have own infrastructure, meaning that the provision of the service was depending on agreements with others. And that made us, that our margins were lower, and it was not very clear if this would be sustainable, especially because also the data growth required to buy higher volumes of data, so data growth in the mobile especially, so meaning that our volume of purchasing of services would increase significantly over the years. So that's why we did two things. First, and that's about when I really realized that the strategy lessons in the MBA have been useful somewhat, because I was in the prisoner dilemmas, so game theory all over, and we participated in a process where Orange, the third operator, bought the fourth operator, Chastel, in 2014, and the European Commission came in and said, okay, we will approve the purchase, but Orange, you have to sell off some of your assets and enable a fourth player to come into the market. For these assets, we were competing back then with Yoigo, with some cable operators, and we as MÁSMÓVIL, and at the end, the European Commission said, okay, MÁSMÓVIL is the most adequate buyer for these assets and to become a strong fourth player in the Spanish market. So in this moment, suddenly we had infrastructure for broadband. So this was a turnaround point. We could buy infrastructure that cost Chastel in back then maybe 500, 600 million euros, and we bought it for 20 million euros. So this was a very great opportunity for us. And in this moment, I said, okay, we have the fixed infrastructure, so fixed telephony and broadband for the massive market. We want to also have mobile infrastructure. And in Spain, TeliaSonera, the Swedish incumbent, had subsidiary called Yoigo, fourth operator in Spain, and we started to talk with them. At the beginning, this was a very complex process because we have been a relatively small company still, billing 140 million and trying to buy a company of 850 million of revenues, so about 5 times the size of MÁSMÓVIL, of the original MÁSMÓVIL. So we had to gain a lot of credibility in the process. We were competing with other funds. And at the end, we won this process also, again, because strategy was important. And to make it very concrete, we wanted to buy Yoigo, a network operator, and at the end we thought it was very complicated. Another party got exclusivity in the negotiation period and said, okay, what we can do? So we bought an MVNO, a competing MVNO called Pepefon, more or less the same size in mobile clients as MÁSMÓVIL. And with the synergies, on the one hand, we had much more facility or easiness to get financing to buy the Yoigo transaction. We got credibility with Telia saying, okay, these guys are capable of getting the financing. On the other hand, we took away the other party, a potential synergy that they had foreseen with Pepefon as well in this process. So this was, let's say, if you cannot get the big animal, go for the small one, and at the end we'll get also the big one. So we were lucky. At the end, this strategy worked, and we formed now a group, MÁSMÓVIL, with around 500 employees, 1.1 billion of revenues, more than 100 million of EBITDA, and we are now the fastest growing operator in the Spanish market, both in mobile as well as in broadband. We also believe in the concept of efficient investments. Here in Spain, sometimes in the discussions we always saw investment per se is good. And I always said, no, it's just good if it makes sense. So it doesn't make sense that everybody puts the fiber cable in the same place and invests in the installations, etc. And that's why MÁSMÓVIL goes also the way of co-investment. So we are doing fiber deployment together with other operators, mostly with Orange, but also some small operators. That allows us to have high speed to the market, cheap investments, and good prices for our clients. And that's the philosophy of MÁSMÓVIL. It's very simple. You know, most of you might think it's very complicated to create a mobile operator. It's not that complicated because the philosophy behind is very easy. When we started it, we wanted to offer good prices and a good service, because I suffered the service in Spain when I was a student in the IE business school. So with this philosophy, we will like to continue, and of course we see a big growth opportunity in the Spanish market. Now, what did I learn of that? Because obviously there was a lot of hard work, there was a lot of luck, etc. But for you as future entrepreneurs, what's the learning? Well, first of all, creating and managing a company is not that difficult. And I say that because we are normal people, successful and not so successful entrepreneurs. I think that the difference is not that we are much more intelligent or brighter, but that we had a good idea and we were lucky in executing this idea in the correct manner. But everybody can do it, and with a good idea, with a lot of passion and commitment. Creating a company is not a hobby. You have to dedicate time and passion to it. So when we initially in MÁSMÓVIL, we had 3 founders, and one of the founders said, I just have part-time opportunity to join. I said, no, okay, you are out. We need full commitment. I think that's very important. Second, realistic goal setting. In MÁSMÓVIL, thought we would be in the market in 3 or 4 months, and actually we said, okay, if we would not be in 1 year in the market, we will go home. I remember in 2007 I had a speech in the graduation of the IE students, and I said, okay, in 2006, at the end of 2006, well, we will be in the market very soon. I had the same speech 1 year later in 2017 because it required much more time, and it was only possible to continue because we have been both very committed. But realistic goal setting, especially in financial terms, get a very good CFO. For me, it's key. No, that plans well the money, gets money, is capable of raising it, and is prudent in spending it. Of course, then the other topic, it's all about people. It sounds a bit like bullshit. When I did the MBA, I thought the HR class and the business ethic class is completely useless. Now I think it's the most important classes. And especially in HR, there are two things that I would really recommend you if you want to start a company. First, define well the culture that you want to have in your company. We, for instance, in the first phase, we just hired people that knew to play soccer or skiing. And okay, it might sound a bit stupid, but we got together guys that were, aligned. We had the same sports enthusiasm, etc. We got a culture that was agile, was quick, and we understand over time that it was much more important to get people that fitted into the culture than people that would have a great experience in the sector. Second, with the people, get the right professionals, and the right professionals are those that fit in this culture, and also that are smarter than you. We have to be honest as entrepreneurs. We cannot cover everything, so get people that know things better than yourself. Don't try to be the best in everything. Well, I've talked about the strategy part. Strategy is very important. Sometimes you have to reflect because there's always a lot of work, a lot of operations, a lot to do, but you have to take time to think how we can be more agile as the competition, as the more established players. And for that, we need the brain power. And then something that I also said before, execution is everything. Now that it is just do it mentality. It's better to do something wrong than do nothing and not commit failure. Failure, or be frightened of committing failures is a big showstopper. So don't doubt too much. Try to do things, even though you run the risk that you might get it wrong. MÁSMÓVIL was very innovative in a lot of sense. We have been the first in the market with a flat rate tariff in voice. We have brought in customer self-care services to the Spanish market, and and we have been the first that launched a tariff at 0 cents per minute. So a lot of things that you said, okay, some risk, but things turned out quite well at the end. Well, basically that's it. I hope some of the things were interesting for you. I would like to wish you all the best for your projects. I think it's great. I was really impressed of the few presentations that I saw. All the best, and I also would like to thank IE Business School for inviting me, and also congratulate the institution and also the students for this great initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Meini. We have time for questions, if anybody in the audience has any questions to ask. No one?
Hello. Hi, Meinrad.
Hey.
We're here. Thanks for sharing with us your vision and how you traveled from a startup really to the fourth telecom company here in Spain. You mentioned that you are providing services both in retail and businesses, right? Based on one of your acquisitions. With the stress in cash flow and the several rounds you have to run in order to get additional capital, in order to keep growing and keep doing these acquisitions, there is still the strategy to keep working in both arenas? Do you still see synergies in both areas? Or you would like to focus more on retail, that I guess is where you have more core competencies?
No, I mean, we had the lucky situation that we always got the money that we needed for the growth. And until now, this was quite limited. In the last year, more or less, we were able to raise 900 million, which are already higher amounts, no? But we are lucky that the organic business, or the operations, are running great. You know, that's sometimes, I mean, you might think, okay, this guy, we bought around 10 companies, most of them quite small niche players, but 10 companies, so that one might think, okay, this guy is just growing by acquisition. No, we grew every year in 20, 30s, 40% in the organic business. And we grew in the consumer segment, but also in the business segment. Now we have a big opportunity because one of the showstoppers to be more successful in the business segment was that we didn't have an own native mobile service. So with Yoigo, with the network of Yoigo, we can accelerate this growth. So we will continue growing, and especially we have been successful in the past with very specialized services, not massive services, because the bigger traditional operators said, okay, if I have to work too much, it's not worth business. Well, we took these niches. We personalized a lot of services in voice over IP, in data connectivity, etc. And now we can enter also the mass market for freelancers, for small and medium enterprises. And this is a big growth opportunity. So both, we will do both. And Spain needs both services from us.
Thank you for sharing your story with us. So my question is about your view of big data analytics in the telco industry. There are voices that say that maybe in 5 to 10 years, the providers are able to provide their service for free and make the money of data analytics and the insights they share with companies. Do you think that's possible?
I think that's a bit exaggerated, probably. The thing is that big advantages of the telco operators is that we have a lot of information. You know where people move, what are their habits. Basically, we could know in which shops they are going, etc. So there's a lot of rich material. Until now, I think the usage of this material is very limited, and we have also always to comply with consumer protection legislation, etc. I think there's opportunity. There's an opportunity to use also this data to offer additional services and to transform from, let's say, for me, to simplify a lot, from year 2000 until 2010, probably, a bit more, the mobile operators at least have been good in selling handsets or dispatching handsets. In the last few years, they concentrated to be a good production facility to produce gigas. But what I see as a future is we have to be a service company. We have so much direct interaction options and opportunities with the clients that we can better offer them the right energy or electricity supply. We can give them insurance services, etc. So I see that the big data and the information can be the base to enter new service markets for operators.
Hello, Meini. I'm over here on your left.
Hi.
I was interested to know your opinion about risk management as an entrepreneur. Is it good to have a push for irrational risks, or is it better to be really rational and take your risks step by step?
I mean, of course, as an entrepreneur, you have to take risk. And I give you a few examples. I mean, both entrepreneurs, Chris and me, we left good paid jobs, and we started from zero, having no salary for 2 years. But this was a moment where the downside was not that big, because we knew we could go back to our earlier jobs and start all over again if we would fail. We took in this process, and then obviously you have to take risky decision once in a while and be quicker as the competition and use this advantage as an entrepreneur. The 0-cent tariff was a mega hit in the market. Everybody copied us, but we have been the first one to move. In the purchasing process, in the acquisition processes of Pepperphone and Yoigo, we reinvented the way of doing acquisitions, because we had to take risk and quick. What we did, for instance, in Pepperphone, we paid 20 million upfront before a comprehensive due diligence, because we thought we knew the asset more or less, and we thought also if we start a big due diligence of 6, 7, 8 weeks, the opportunity would be gone. For that, you need the right partners. Our shareholders supported us in this process, which was not that obvious, because there was a lot of risk if the 20 million or later the 30 million that we paid upfront for Yoigo, if we would have lost them, we would have had serious problems as a company. So that's what I'm talking about, culture. It's not only the employees, it's also the partners, financial institutions that support you. They have to have the same philosophy. In general, of course, no risk, no fun, no upside. So we have to do it. But of course, even though it's not obvious, sometimes you have to put in also some realism. But I think that's why you are investing, for instance, no, for people that take risk, and so that the upside is also higher.
Hello, thank you very much for your presentation. Appreciate it, Meinrad. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the MÁSMÓVIL future. Since you already say that you have been really specialized in giving certain type of services, do you see MÁSMÓVIL in the near future maybe aligning itself with might be Sigfox or with LoRa in order to provide services with M2M communication or get into the IoT market? Thanks.
There are a lot of opportunities in the machine-to-machine business. We have not been very active until now, to be honest, in it, because the revenues are very small per line. So I mean, usually you have 1, 2, 3 euros per line, depending on the consumption. And this was not a market especially interesting for us until now, because we have not had an own mobile network. So if you have high production cost and small margins, this massive market was not so interested. So we have to look at it in the future. I think it will be of interest, but we will have also to see if this is a business with interesting margins. Because if you have, I think it will be more interesting with the virtual SIM cards. You know, there's a move from these physically small SIM cards to have cloud-based services. Because if you have to recycle all the time the SIM cards and the numbers, then it's a bit logistical challenge as well. But to be honest, I'm not yet an expert in it, and we have to look at it as well.
Thank you, Meinrad, for your words. I have 2 questions. The first one is regarding your vision and passion at the beginning when you decided to start a company. Like, what really motivated you to start it? What was your vision? Where did you want to go? Like, did you want to be the best player in your industry, or you wanted to solve a specific problem? And my second question is about your work in McKinsey. Did it help you in later being an entrepreneur, or what would you recommend us if you want to be entrepreneurs as job experience? Which type of industry or type of job would you actually recommend us? Thank you.
No, the vision was very easy. I mean, I said it was very simple for us. I had a personal bad experience in the Spanish market with the service I received. It was expensive. The customer care was not satisfying. I remember, I mean, calling and then to a call center. Then they would pass me 5, 6 times to another agent. I had to repeat my identification number, my name, my problem, etc. So it was really a frustrating experience. I think it improved also in the competition a bit, but that was one of the origins, good customer care. And the other thing, a fair price. So we have been always with a discount versus the traditional players in the market, so people could save with us. And what we did also, we did niche markets like Germans, Brits, with customer care in their respective languages. So good service and good price combination of both, and then bring innovation and transparency to the market. I remember in 2006, advertising in the telecom market was also everything cost 0. Then you look at the small print, and you see, okay, if you call your grandmother between 8 and 9 o'clock in the morning, it's free, and in the rest, it costs you triple. No? So we brought in transparency and innovation, for instance, self-care, new tariff schemes, etc. So that was a bit the mission or philosophy. And the rest, the second question was? About your work experience. Well, I think it depends on the profile of each person. I did the MBA very early with 25 years, and I was not prepared. I had no clue about creating a company, no business plans, nothing at this time. I needed some professional experience until I felt comfortable to start my own thing. So for me, the consulting was a useful experience. I was 5 years there, and probably less would have been enough, but I liked it, so I continued. Why I started the company for a more personal motive was I wanted to have more liberty, more autonomy on my schedule and my life, and be able to organize myself. And if I want to go to the gym in the morning, I didn't have to ask anybody, and I could work until late, etc. This flexibility, that was my personal motive. But I think it depends on each person. Somebody feel prepared with 19, some with 25, and I felt prepared with 30.
Hello, thank you for your presentation. I would like to ask you a question that is related to your business sector and also to entrepreneurship. Right now, in the telco industry, the voice ARPU, it's declining, and the data, you need more capacity, but the price per gigabyte is also declining, so you get less profit. And all the top 3 telcos are moving into the digital content business and also the cloud-based business. How does a company like yours that is catching up with them, but now there's a new paradigm in the sector, how does it try to still catch them? I mean, continue what they're doing, but trying to be the best? I mean, trying to move into the digital sector, or trying to go into the niche areas or businesses like you were doing previously?
First, we are more digital than anybody because we are more automated than any other operators. We have less antique systems, etc. So we are prepared for the future in terms of back office. If you're talking about content, we believe that this is a bubble, like the handset bubble that we had. Everybody wanted to have an iPhone, and at the end, nobody was willing to pay for it. And I have here a friend that is also here today present, told me once a few years ago, from the iPhones that he repairs, just 50% have downloaded an app. So for what do you need an iPhone if you don't use apps? So, with the content, it's a bit the same. In Spain, we have around 70 or 75% of the people that are not willing to pay more than 10 euros a month for premium content. Everybody is selling that the content consumption in television, the premium content is exploding, but it just increased within 1.5 years by 1% in market share and audience. So it's not a game changer. It's a bit, I think, defensive move, initially from Telefonica, that was followed by the rest. But I think nobody is really happy about what they're doing because they're spending a lot in content that they are not able to recuperate. So what they have to do is to increase price. What is our strategy is very simple. Is not impose an offer to the client, but give flexibility, facilitate the access to premium content, also to soccer, to series, to movies, but at the election of the client. He can choose whether or not he wants it. We don't impose this and increase prices.
All right, that's all we have time for. I want to take this opportunity to thank you very much, Meini, for your time, your insight, and everything. I know how busy you are. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you also to your team, communications, Fernando Castro, everything that you've done for us. It's been fantastic. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you
luck.
to everyone
Bye.
for the questions.